So now you know what you can afford, but maybe you're unsure about whether you should move ahead with your current down payment. For many home buyers, building a down payment feels like a big hurdle on their path to home ownership. They've worked hard to pay down debts while finding employment they enjoy that pays good enough money to be able to afford to buy a property. They've also fought off FOMO as their friends have frolicked around the world on some adventures that they decided to miss so they could save for their future. So the key question is, should you consider buying a property if you have less than 20% down payment? We're going to attack this question from three angles. One, what are the benefits of having at least 20% down payment? Two, how quickly have Toronto property prices been growing and can your savings keep up? And three, is it relatively normal for people to buy property with less than 20% down payment? Wealthsimple's article pointed out that with 20% down payment, you can avoid having to pay mortgage insurance, otherwise known as CMHC fees. You can also secure the most competitive interest rate on a mortgage, and the combination of a larger down payment, no CMHC fees, and the best interest rate will allow you to have a smaller loan balance and lower monthly borrowing costs. RateHub's calculator also showed us that with 20% down payment, you may also have the option of 30-year mortgage amortization, allowing you to borrow more money for a similar monthly cost. These are some serious benefits. However, as you'll see on the following slide, the Toronto market has been growing at a rapid rate over recent years, so saving a large down payment becomes even more difficult when the target keeps moving further away from you and the required amount keeps growing. So how much have property prices been increasing in Toronto recently, and how much could that cause your saving target to move? I've used the Toronto Real Estate Board's Market Watch report to answer this question using data from the end of May 2016. Here you can see the year-on-year price growth for Western Toronto, which shows annual growth in some areas of up to 28% over the last 12 months. Median price growth was highest for attached houses, followed by detached houses and townhouses, with the three larger housing types all up by over 11.5% annually, while apartments were up by just over 8%. When considering central Toronto, detached housing prices increased at the fastest rate, with one zone exhibiting almost 30% growth in the price of detached houses. While this allowed homeowners to receive a significant windfall, home buyers were likely shocked by the additional cash requirement to ensure they could meet their expectation of 20% down payment. Median price growth for detached houses was highest in central Toronto at 16.5%, while attached houses and townhouses were also up by close to 16% over the last year. Finally, in eastern Toronto, it was the attached houses, which is a category that is largely made up of semi-detached houses in the area, that exhibited the highest growth, with just over 22% growth in one region over the year. Although townhouses exhibited the highest median growth at almost 15%, followed by detached and attached houses at 14% and 12% respectively. Looking at benchmark prices for the three areas, we see that Western Toronto's median prices for detached and attached housing range from just under $600,000 for attached houses to just over $730,000 for detached houses. The highest benchmark price in the area was just over $1 million for a detached house in the W01 district, which contains High Park at its centre, the Humber River to the west, and Roncesvalles and Parkdale in the east. In central Toronto, we see the highest price benchmark in the whole of Toronto at over $2 million in region C12, which is around York Mills and Bayview and contains the Bridle Path, Toronto's most prestigious neighbourhood. Looking at the whole of central Toronto, we see the highest median prices in Toronto for attached and detached houses at a range of about $900,000 to over $1.3 million. If you're a home buyer that's looking to buy a house for over $1 million, you are required to have at least 20% down payment. Finally, in Eastern Toronto, we see the best affordability in median house prices for attached and detached houses, with a range from about $530,000 through to about $690,000. The most expensive price benchmark in the East End can be seen in the E02 district, which is a large area that runs from Coxwell through to Victoria Park, all the way up to the Danforth and down to the beaches. It's a neighbourhood in Toronto that holds a special place in my heart because it feels most like Australia, with the beaches, waterfront, relaxed vibe, and plenty of cycling and running tracks. When we consider transactions over the year to date, we see similar average prices in the east and west end of Toronto at about 630 grand, while central Toronto carries a $200,000 premium at around $840,000. The East End exhibited the shortest days on market by at least 7 days, with an average of 15 days on market for listings. While the East End also achieved the highest premium of sales price over list price, with sales prices averaging at 106% of list price, compared to 103% for Western and Central Toronto. These statistics suggest that bidding wars were most prevalent in the East End, and homes were being quickly snapped up by willing buyers. Central Toronto exhibited almost as many sales as the combined total of both East and West Toronto, and this can likely be attributed to the high number of condos that are available within Central Toronto and along the subway line. Now that we have a general understanding of Toronto housing prices and recent price growth, let's consider how this pricing growth affects your ability to build a down payment. If we consider a base value of $500,000 for a house, and we're open to the possibility that its value could have grown by between 5% to 20% in the last year, this means its value has increased by anywhere between $25,000 and $100,000 in the last year. This also means that in trying to reach your 20% down payment goal, you're trying to hit a moving target and needing to save anywhere between an additional $5,000 and $20,000 if you're working off the reasonably low base price of $500,000. I know that paying mortgage insurance can feel like a waste of money. However, if your savings can't keep up with the growth in the property market, then maybe it's worth reconsidering whether a down payment of less than 20% is right for you, especially if it can get you onto the property ladder and earning similar returns to what we've seen over the last year. So, are other people buying property with less than 20% down payment? Ipsos Reid developed a study for the Toronto Real Estate Board that was included in TREB's 2016 Year in Review report that you can review at the above link. Its findings suggest that the most common down payment category was between 20% to 24.9%, so most people are putting at least 20% down. Approximately 43% of Toronto home sales fell within the range of $500,000 to $1 million. So there is a large market of buyers that have an opportunity to buy a house with less than 20% down payment. For properties sold between $500,000 to $700,000, 6% of recent buyers put down 5% to 9.9%. And for properties sold between $700,000 to $1 million, 3% of buyers put down 5% to 9.9%. So many buyers seem to be putting down at least 10% in down payment. Although I do not have the data available for the contingent between 10% to 19.9%. Almost 14% of buyers cited gifts from family and friends as a down payment source, while about 13% of buyers used savings within their RSP as a down payment source. Considering that first-time home buyers accounted for almost 60% of purchases in the city of Toronto, it seems clear that many people are not taking advantage of the RSP home buyers plan. In fact, more buyers relied on gifts from friends and family for their down payment than those that drew down from their RSP. This makes me wonder if buyers A, know it's an option, and B, know how to take advantage of this option, which could significantly help you to speed up the process of saving for your down payment. If you don't fully understand the RSP home buyers plan, it's possible to watch one of Toronto's best realtors, Lauren Hoare, to walk you through the steps involved in making the RSP home buyers plan work for you.